Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Andrew, and we are the IB English guys. And today is our second video about refining the global issue. We receive many direct messages and many comments and questions from students about the global issue for the individual oral. And today's the day we hope to uncover more of that mystery. Mr. Giles, why is the global issue so important for this assessment?
Well, first of all, we know it's the backbone of our individual oral. We know that it really has to be our centerpiece, and we have to think deeply about the issue that we want to explore. It needs to be narrow enough and insightful enough, but also connect to that second text. And we need to do some heavy lifting and think carefully about what we want to pursue.
Yeah, I agree. It's the global issue is the cornerstone of the individual oral. Now, Mr. Giles, the IB has given us three very clear criteria in terms of what defines a global issue. Can I quiz you?
Yeah, go for it.
Tell me, what makes a global issue according to the IB?
Okay, the first thing is we think about it being on a wide scale, something we see in many segments of society. Second thing is that it's transnational. And the last thing is it's seen in an everyday context. Could be something that we see in our neighbors or any situation.
This guy knows his course guide. Very impressive. Okay, Mr. Giles, I think in order to get to a refined global issue, we need to go through this inverted pyramid approach, or sometimes called a ladder of abstraction, okay? And typically what we do in this is we start very wide with an idea, and over time, through questioning, we get narrower and narrower until we have that focused global issue. You ready to try this?
Yeah, and I think like the idea, don't get hung up on exactly like little parts of the triangle. We want to just ask a series of questions that get us to really nail down that precise issue. So every pyramid is going to look a little bit different, but I think the purpose of this second video is to see us actually go through the process.
Yeah, let's do it.
The questions are the key.
The questions are the key.
Yeah,
so you want to do this with somebody who's read the text, maybe your teacher or a peer who you trust. All right, Giles, let's start. Let's assume you're doing the individual oral and you need a literary text to begin with. Let's start with the literary and think about Mr. Giles. Question one, what are some texts that you love in our course?
One text that I really love.
I'm going to take notes.
Okay, the text I love that I'm really interested in pursuing is a text I actually brought here is Tim O'Brien's.
Oh, that's good. I brought it too.
Yeah, Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried. I think this is a student favorite. I think this is a text also that would be good for our video because many kids would know this text. And this is one that really resonates with me and many of my students.
Yeah, I agree. It's super popular with our students. Now,
love it.
Mr. Giles, there are a lot of ideas in this novel. What are some of the ideas in the novel that have resonated with you?
That's a great question. I want to just say that's a great question because there's not like one global issue in this text.
No, there's a lot of ideas in here.
Yeah, so I think one idea that resonates with me is storytelling and listening.
All right, I'm going to write that down.
How storytelling is just essential in this text.
All right, I got it. Storytelling and listening. Mr. Giles, are there other ideas in this novel that you want to work with?
Another idea I find interesting is the allure of war. The idea that war can be addictive and alluring. I think that comes up in the novel frequently.
Yeah, I can think of multiple characters that go through that. Anything else you want to capture?
I think also we get this idea, even inherent in the title, is that this sort of emotional burden that soldiers carry, and that weight of guilt and weight of memory that's there. And I guess that's would be my fourth point, would be the idea of memory and the past.
All right, Mr. Giles, let me just kind of read back what we have so far in terms of our keywords. We've got some storytelling you're interested in, the allure of war, emotional burdens that soldiers experience, and this notion of memory and guilt. Okay, there's a lot going on there. If you had to choose an inquiry field from our course, we've got science, nature, technology, we've got power, politics, and justice. Are there any, I know you know all the different inquiry fields, are there any that are jumping at you? Which inquiry field do you believe matches this novel best?
I think it's culture, identity, and community. I think that's an interesting field of inquiry. Of course, you could talk about other ones, but I think that one I find interesting.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. Thinking about how soldiers' identity changes as a result of war. That's interesting. That is an interesting idea. Okay. So it looks like we're having on our top level, we'll start with culture, identity, and community. And you've just gone down to the next level and said that you want to focus on the idea of identity. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Identity would be how I could narrow that down a little bit more specifically.
Okay. Mr. Giles, when in the novel do you see characters struggling with identity?
I think most often it's the returning soldiers that are struggling to cope with the burdens of war, right? Cope with their memories as they come back into society. So the idea of the soldiers who return, because what's interesting about the text is that we see soldiers that are in war, but also when they come back. So you asked about which characters now?
Well, let me ask the next question.
Okay.
So, all right, when those soldiers return, Mr. Giles, what would you say causes that struggle? Why are these soldiers struggling when they get back? What about their identity is causing them to struggle?
Yeah, I think it's the idea that they're really searching for a listener. They're searching for a way to tell their stories and have somebody listen to them.
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, when they get back to home, people don't really understand what they've been through. That's tough, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Giles, why do they so desperately want to find a listener? What is it that they want to talk about?
This is the community part. This is this is part of their identity, is that they want to feel a sense of belonging, and they're searching for that belonging, and they're trying to heal from their trauma.
All right.
So I think that's really what's at play with these characters.
Yeah, you've got some amazing keywords here. All right, Giles, are you ready for the hardest part of this entire task?
No, but
all right.
we can try.
Well, I think it's important
ready.
we make this visual, right? Because you need to see these things. And folks, of course, I have a computer in front of me. You want to do the same thing. Giles, here are your keywords, okay? Your keywords are identity, community, returning soldiers, searching, listener, belonging, and heal. Our author's Tim O'Brien.
Yeah.
Do you have a global issue that you can somehow pull out of these keywords? Can we sort of mix and match and play with language and try to, you know, can I give you the first one?
Yeah.
Today, I would like to talk about the inquiry field of
culture, community, and identity.
Great. More specifically, what would you like to discuss, Mr. Giles? Please use the keywords the best you can.
Okay, more specifically, I'd like to discuss the identity of soldiers who return from war and how they are searching for a listener.
Stop. For a listener.
And how this...
Can I ask for a second sentence? Why is this so important to find a listener? This is important because...
This is important because this will give them a sense of belonging and help them heal from their trauma.
Wow. All right, Giles, that was impressive work. Let me read it back to you and see what we've got, okay? Today, I'd like to discuss the inquiry field of culture, identity, and community. More specifically, I'd like to discuss the identity of soldiers who return from war and how they are searching for listeners. This is critical because it gives them a sense of belonging and heals their trauma.
Yeah, helps them heal from their
helps
trauma.
them. Yeah, I made a mistake there.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
That's not bad, right? I think we're now, Mr. Giles. How do you feel about this? You said it's not bad. Tell me what your thoughts are.
I like it. I like it. I think it connects to the idea of storytelling and the fact that these soldiers have stories to tell. And they need to be able to tell their story. This is the way that we recover from the past, is to actually let that out. And so I want to talk about that. That is a global issue. Global issues doesn't have to be climate change and pollution, and that a global issue is something that people need to be able to express their feelings to get over things from the past. So it's not just soldiers, it's anybody.
No, Mr. Giles, it's anybody. That's significant on a wide scale. That is transnational. We do feel that in everyday context.
So that's
a global issue.
You know what? This is where, since we're just riffing, this is actually where we could actually connect that idea to another body of work that's not even related to soldiers who return from war.
No.
Maybe we change it and talk about, hey, it's about recovering from the past and the importance of telling your story.
Yeah, I agree. I think now you're starting to think about the second text. It's not just about soldiers. It's about anybody who's gone through trauma. Anybody who's gone through trauma wants to share their story and process with the listener so they can feel included in their community.
That's right.
That's the global issue, folks.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We hope this video has been helpful for you. And again, it's quite messy going through this process. Mr. Giles, could you just kind of summarize the process that we've gone through today, and we'll conclude?
Yeah, I think we started with those questions, and we had somebody ask us questions, and I think you want to look at the handout below that will have those questions. Again, don't be confined. Don't get stuck on any particular question, and ask more. That's how we're going to drill down. Then we thought about that inverted pyramid that is being built by those series of questions, and that eventually will end with, I think, a pretty good global issue.
I think so
I like
too.
our global
I
issue
do
now.
too. I do as well. Now, of course, I would never just do this once. I would do this multiple times with my partner and try to establish a different global issue, several, and see which one's best. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. It was, again, these are doing a video like that where you put me on the spot. It's not easy, but hopefully it's a chance for you to see me wrestle with some of the ideas and try to come up with some.
Yeah,
I'm
impressed by your work as always, folks. We hope this video provides some value for you. We hope that it helps you craft a better global issue statement. Keep those messages coming. Keep those comments coming, and we will continue to make videos for you. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.